Welcome, everyone, to VGBees Podcast, episode 20. That's right. It is our 20th anniversary of the show. Woo! We've been doing this for 20 years.
20 years.
Incredible. 20 years with VGBees. It's flown by, folks. And I am one of your hosts, John Warden, alongside my forever co-host, Niki Grayson. Hi, Niki.
I got blood drawn today.
All right.
Ooh,
how did that
that's
go?
What's up, blood?
They took a lot of it.
Did they take more than they should have?
Nah, they took, I think, a normal amount. They took some to make sure I don't have any cooties, and then they took some to make sure I have all the electrolytes I need.
Okay. Now, did you ask for the cootie test, or did they just kind of like talk to you and they were like, we should probably check for cooties?
No, I get cootie checked every month.
That's
which
nice.
is too frequently.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you really don't need to get cootie checked every month.
I never got cootie checked that often when I was active.
Fucking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
well, hold on a second. Wait a second. Which
he is no longer
here. I just picked one.
It sounds like you're not fucking anymore.
Don't spread that rumor. I'm definitely still active.
The 10-panel cootie test is expensive.
When my doctor asked if I'm active, I'm like, what do you think?
And then he says, no.
What do you think?
Holy shit.
We're also very pleased to have one Michael P. Higham on the show.
Hey, wow. What to do, baby? I am both Drivey and Bees #1 fan.
Oh, wow. That's so sweet. Michael
does the bee have a name?
Yes.
What is the bee's name? Okay.
Danger. It's Danger the bee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Drivey and Danger. Oh.
Drivey and Danger. Yeah. Yes. I forgot that we named the bee. I've really fallen off the lore of the my own website, but that's how it go. Since last time you were on a video game podcast with me, you've joined the Imagine Games Network, which is very exciting.
Yes, I am at imaginegamesnetwork.com. Don't type that into the URL. It's not going to take you anywhere. Oh, actually,
Well, hold on.
Hold on. ImagineGamesNetwork.com.
Imagine Dragons Network.
Nope.
Wait, no. Okay, now hold on. Can we buy it?
Oh my god! And redirect it to VGBees. Hey, I had no part in this. Do
you remember when what was that Vine replacement that was there for a second? Byte. We Niki stole IGN.
And then they fucking took
day one, and then Byte just gave it.
They just gave it.
They gave it back.
What a bunch of cowards!
I know.
I had IGN. I had Tylenol. I had Advil. I had a bunch of like really good ones.
Didn't you have Kind of Funny too? I think
I also did have Kind of Funny.
You're just squatting everyone's URL.
And then IGN called somebody.
We sent an email to Greg that said, "Greg, give us $200,000 and we'll release this." And he never
having a ransom for URLs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, was this when we were at Fanbyte?
You weren't.
I was not.
Okay. Yeah.
You weren't yet. Yeah. And then they I had it for like a couple of days, and then one day I had been logged out of the account, and when I went to log back in, it had been changed to IGN 2.
Oh,
which is so funny.
Maybe it's better to be the sequel.
Maybe it is better to be IGN 2.
IGN the Squeakquel.
We cannot get ImagineGamesNetwork.com, unfortunately.
It's not. It's just like taken. It's being squatted. Probably by them.
Yeah, probably by them. They're afraid of it.
That's fair. They're afraid.
Yeah, are you afraid of it, Michael?
Are you afraid of it?
Of the Imagine Games Network?
Yeah, of acknowledging your history.
I think it's kind of like when people say, "Oh, I have the fear of God in me." It's like, or being God fearing. Like I am IGN fearing, which means I praise it and I give service to it. Mm-hmm. So I am IGN fearing because every time I log in, I'm like, "Holy fuck, what's going to happen to me today?"
What's happening today?
Our games are an awesome games.
I don't go
games. So you don't know any of Jesus's hot.
You know the hymns.
I know 4 hymns.
Hymns. You know 4 hymns.
Stupid.
4 hymns.
Which one does hymns have the chewable dick pills?
We talked about this.
Or is that Roman? We did?
Yes.
Oh, we did talk about this.
Because the conclusion was
at the Truly bar.
Yeah, the Truly bar in LA.
Only serves Truly.
With Jesse Vitelli.
They have a champagne. It's so fucked. You go to the Truly bar, which is next door to a brewery, right? It's next door to Angel City Brewery, and it's called the Truly bar. And you're like, oh, okay, well, there's a brewery on one side, and then there's a Truly bar on the other. So the Truly bar must serve alcohol, like liquor.
Mm-hmm.
No, everything is Truly. They have a drink that's like, it's champagne, it's Truly. You can get a gin and tonic, it's Truly.
Yeah.
Boo.
It's pretty good though. It's fun. I will admit the crowd at the Truly bar is more my vibe, I guess. Which is say like a lot of Asians go there. So
yeah, people. I mean, y'all love Trulies, I guess.
Yeah, you can't find one. You can't find one in Ireland. There's not enough of us out there. That's an if you're driving callback for those who.
Yeah, that was yeah. Well, listen, most people that are here listen to the other one too, so it's fine. They go hand in hand. I got in trouble last night because I posted that lettuce should not be on sandwiches, burritos, tacos, or burgers, and a lot of people yelled at me.
Why?
Including one of my co-hosts, Niki Grayson. Niki, do you want to talk to us about lettuce for a second?
So I agree with the sentiment.
Okay, well, there we go. Thanks, let's move on. So Michael has played Metaphor ReFantazio, which comes out this week. It's really exciting. No, go ahead, Niki. Tell us about lettuce.
I think that in most cases, lettuce is actually a deterrent on a burger. However,
it's the wrong choice.
When it hits, I do think that there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it. There's no
one on
addition.
Earth that's ever eaten lettuce and gone, ooh, there's nothing like it.
Me.
If you have moments like that.
If you have styrofoam in pond water, it's just like lettuce.
Yeah, and that's good. Where is the bad thing in that statement? I think there is a beauty. I don't think any soft leaf lettuce ever belongs on a burger. It should always be a chunk of iceberg, singular, and it has to be proportionally sized to the burger such that you get a chunk of that iceberg in every bite. If it is bigger, or if there's 2 pieces of lettuce, that's too much. 1 piece of lettuce, 1 tomato per burger. Like soft leaf lettuce, like a green leaf, like a Shake Shack lettuce, that shit's not doing anything. That's nothing. You don't need that on there. Yeah. But an In-N-Out iceberg chunk, now that bangs. I do think that hits.
Here's the thing. So In-N-Out lettuce is very good because it is crispy and they give you that one thick fucking slice.
Yeah.
That's just like you bite into it and it's like it's like water. It's like drinking water out of your burger. But
that's what you want,
which is precisely my point.
So I was gonna follow up and say In-N-Out has good lettuce, but their lettuce is too watery because the rest of the burger is too watery. So I always order my In-N-Out burgers without lettuce because you bite into it and it starts like, I don't know, I have like burger nut all over my hands and I don't want that. So the
burger nut is part of the experience.
No, you just got to drip on top of the fries.
You want it to bust in your hand.
I don't want burger nut. I just want to eat the burger. I don't want the burger to come on.
What else are you supposed to lick afterwards?
Why does this always happen every time I'm on a podcast?
So you saw the Carl's Jr. ads for like Paris Hilton's like sucking a burger,
brother.
And you're like, that's how every burger.
That's how
oh my god, Carl's Jr. fucking sucks. I'll say that. I'm on record. Fuck Carl's Jr.
The fried zucchini at Carl's Jr. is good.
Fried zucchini? I do like fried zucchini.
Yeah, kind of bangs, actually.
But here's the thing. Whenever you've got an iceberg or just a general like romaine lettuce, spinach, arugula, or cabbage even would be a better alternative.
Cabbage?
I've never. Cabbage. Okay, let me back up for a second.
Crazy.
Let me back up for a second. some sort of
slaw.
Some sort of slaw.
A slaw for sure.
Pickled cabbage.
A piece, like a thing. If I bite into the burger and it squeaks, I'm throwing the fucking
no.
item away.
I'm with you. I meant cabbage as an application of some kind, not like just a slice of cabbage.
The fucking slice of cabbage.
I can hear the cabbage squeak in my head right now.
Gross. Gross. To me, it's just like I think like with a crunch, you could do garlic chips. You could do arugula. You could do like a pickled veg.
Like the thing about arugula is that's the whole fucking burger at that point.
It has to, if you use arugula, it has to come with it has to be paired with other ingredients such as blue cheese.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it has to be a white. Yeah, but I don't want that. But I don't want that. Like that's the point at which I'm like, miss me with that. But the only kind of cheese that should go on a burger is American.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think that
I don't agree that it's the only one. I don't agree it's the only one, but it is the best burger cheese.
It's the correct one.
Oh yeah, I think
someone is like, I've got provolone and we freaking fuck you.
I think American cheese was made specifically for burgers and grilled cheese sandwiches.
Grilled cheese sandwiches, yeah.
Don't put it on anything else.
That's true.
That's that. Think about it.
Be careful, Niki.
Burgers, grilled cheese sandwiches, nothing
here.
else. Do not use.
Niki's going to say, Niki, dog pills for sure. Dog pills for sure. Yeah.
Well,
that's the best.
So barley won't take them, and I won't either. You know,
unless it's wrapped in cheese, American cheese.
Yeah. When Barley and I have our Simparica Trio day, we wrap both of them in pills, and I eat one, and she eats the other.
Oh, solidarity!
And
right?
I don't have worms and fleas.
That's what's up. I have vivid memories of.
That's how Niki takes her Vyvanse.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a antidepressant?
What is Vyvanse?
Is Vyvanse? Is that AD? That's the ADHD that I think I'm looking at.
I'm about to get. I have a. Oh fuck. Okay, that's tomorrow. I have a meeting with my psychiatrist to get some
you're getting on
Addies, baby. Let's
go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I am not on Vyvanse. I'm on VGBees.
Viagra.
What's it called? Strattera.
Viagra. Strattera.
Yeah.
I love that dude character.
They should let you compound all of your medicines into one pill.
I agree.
You should be able to go to the computer and say,
build a bear, build a pill,
build a pill, and it's gonna have my Claritin in there. It's gonna have my Claritin in there. It's gonna have my Lexapro.
Totally.
It's gonna have my Strattera. It's gonna have my ashwagandha supplements.
Niki, in earnest, I think this is actually a great idea.
It's a great idea
because you can have the live drug interactions builder where it's like we're not going to send you a pill that has all of this in it.
Exactly.
But if it checks out, why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
now
like that UI is going to be so good.
Yeah. Oh my God. Mark Cuban can help us with this.
The thing about compound medicine, and that it helps us, is that it does not actually have to be cleared by the FDA.
Right. Yeah.
You could just take it. That's why they have the gummy dick pills at Roe and at Hims. They're gummies because it's legal. They don't have to ask the FDA if that's allowed. They could just make them and send them out to you.
Is that true?
Yes. Compound medicine is not checked by the FDA.
Really?
Yes. So the medication that goes into it, they have to get that cleared, but then afterwards, you can do whatever the fuck you want to it.
Wait, so
could it kill you?
So the pill pushers at my high school, if they just combine the ingredients, they're good. But if they just sell like straight Addy out their pocket, that's bad.
That's right. If you lace weed with fentanyl,
you're good.
It's fine.
Yeah, you're good.
It's totally fine.
You can't go to jail.
Fuck, got it. Listen, say less.
That's true.
Legally binding decrees.
ReFantazio.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what they got in this one.
This game's got pills. This is a new Atlas RPG. You've probably seen stuff about it for the past few months. Really slick looking, not Persona, not Shin Megami Tensei. It's its own thing. First kind of original IP that Atlas has done in a grip. Michael, you played and beat this game for Imagine Games Network. You wrote a review you can read right now over at IGN.com. It's very good. It's one of my favorite reviews of the game that I've read. And you can go read it right now. Michael, gave it a 3 out of 10. That's right. Michael hated this game. You gave it a 9 out of 10. It's been getting crazy good reviews. It's yet another game that's going to put me back so fucking far. My backlog is insane. What did you think overall of this game?
I mean, I think the little bit of backstory. I am an Atlas sicko. I mean, I have Persona tattoos. I have the
word is pervert.
I'm a pervert. Yeah. Well, I'm a pervert in many senses, and Atlas pervert, one of them. I got fucking Persona. Speaking of perverts, I have a poster of fucking Teddy from Persona 4 on my wall. I need to replace that shit. I hate Teddy.
Wow.
But I love like Persona has like, in all earnestness, like Persona has meant a lot to me, and Persona has actually been kind of. Maybe this is a stretch to say, but this is going to be relevant to talking about metaphor in that Persona had been like a very formative series in terms of me learning more about myself and how to conduct myself in the real world. I think I'm not ashamed to say that like when I played Persona 5 for the first time was at the same time I had just moved to San Francisco and worked at GameSpot. And so it's not that I had trouble like talking to people, but it gave me a level of confidence in being vulnerable with other people in a way that I just hadn't seen or understood before. And I think that's a really important thing about Atlas games, whether they send the right message or not, or if they like do it correctly or not. I think Persona 4 has a lot of problems. P5 does too, but it largely majority of it gets it right. I think Persona 3 is my favorite game of all time. And those games have kind of like shown me what it is like to be vulnerable to other people, to understand yourself and knowing how to express that, even though these games are like, I wouldn't say they're rudimentary, like the writing isn't rudimentary, but the writing is pretty like straightforward. But I think it's important for what those games are trying to say and portray to the player. So basically what I'm trying to say, Atlas RPGs play a very important role in my life. And so going into Metaphor, their first new IP in a long time since I think maybe Catherine. I think that's right. Let's talk about a problematic game. You want to talk about Catherine.
Talk about the game with some issues.
But Metaphor has a lot of had a lot of expectations, at least for me, because they're taking the Persona framework, putting it into a new fantasy world where their story is extremely political. And it centers around an election cycle. And it covers like the first hour of this game. So you remember how like Final Fantasy 16 was like, hey, yo, racism, classism.
Right, yeah.
Slavery. There's no slavery.
What's that about in it? Oi, God blimey, I don't think we should own other people.
The biggest Final Fantasy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Biggest Final Fantasy 16 fan, Natalie Flores and John Warren.
That's us. Oi, God, maybe we should rethink this slavery thing. That's just
so Metaphor is not
60 hours of that.
Is that what Ben Starr says for 60 hours?
You know what stinks is that I shouldn't do that because Ben Starr was like the only good part of that game. So Ben Starr was great. But, yeah.
In Osmosis Jones.
Ben Starr was in Osmosis Jones? That's what's up.
I don't remember. I have no idea where I was going with that. Can you please keep talking about the video game? Because I'm trying to figure out if I should try or not.
Okay. So the reason why I bring up 16 is because it tries to tackle similar themes with like classism and racism in a fantasy world. But Metaphor is much more equipped to talk about those things. It shows that to you in like the first couple hours. And I think I say this in my reviews that its writing is very like it speaks very plainly about the things that it tries to tackle. And I think that's important because it seems like this game doesn't want you to mistake its message at all. And I think at a time when media literacy is at an all-time low, personally, I think it's important for this game to be like, listen, motherfuckers, we are talking about diversity right here, and we are explaining affirmative action in this exact dialogue.
So it's kind of like not like a metaphor.
I say this in my review. For a game called Metaphor, it's pretty like it does
overt.
not. Yeah, it's pretty overt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there are ways in which not to speak about other things would be talking about spoilers, but this game being called Metaphor is kind of the funniest part of it all.
Okay.
It's really fucking funny that they called this game that. But yeah, so I would say that, and I think there's some people who haven't played this game yet are looking at screenshots and dialogue based on that and saying like, oh, baby's first like communist message or whatever, baby's first like progressive piece of media, right? But I think that this being a game, it's a different context when it is a game. And it is a different context when you're interacting with that world. I'm not looking at Metaphor to like teach me the ways. I'm very confident in my politics, but it is nice to have a game say all those things outright and demonstrate that they know what they're doing. Because I think I'm not looking at Metaphor to teach me about politics. Rather, I want Metaphor to prove to me that they know what they're doing.
For sure.
And I think they do that.
Something that I think is important, though, also is that, like, I think in a lot of conversations, people denigrate stories that are told that are babies first, when it's like, no, fuckers got to start somewhere.
That's
also right. So, like, it does have to thread the needle and feel good, yes, but also for someone who is coming to this, who is maybe 17 or 18 or whatever, younger, older, like, and they see this stuff, it does need to at some point still be introduced to them conceptually.
Yes.
So I like, yeah, I'm glad that you said that, because I really do like take great umbrage. And I don't think I used to. Like, I used to also think that I was like in a situation where I was like, I hate it when stuff is like spoon fed. I'm like, no, actually, because like fuckers got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So,
the spoon feeding can work if it tastes good to extend the narrative, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Like, I to me, it's like when I played Final Fantasy 16, I was like, yeah, this might be baby's first foray into thinking that slavery is bad. But does the shit taste good? Like, no, really. Exactly. Not to me.
Man, y'all some haters, man.
I do keep forgetting that you were like the big FF16 champion, but
yeah.
I found it to be down the line. That was one of those games that to me got clumsier as it went on.
Sure. Where
I thought it was actually front loaded really well with some effective storytelling, and I think for me fell apart. And I'm curious about, because you're one of many who has said, okay, yeah, this is a pretty political narrative here. Does it have staying power? Does it kind of stay consistently good throughout its long runtime?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think. I mean, not to keep on like the 16 and Metaphor
No,
comparison, but I mean, both fantasy games trying to say like I wouldn't say bold, but like they're trying to say the right thing. The thing, Metaphor is very consistent in its message, and it's like it doesn't forget what it's about from beginning to end. So the concepts it introduces you at the very beginning are relevant to the very end.
Right.
And Atlas has always been good about like, this is our thesis. Your entire journey contributes to us showing you what our thesis is. And at the end, you will see what we were trying to say the entire time. And I think more than as much as my favorite Persona game, this does it really. I think they have like such a clarity of vision for the story of Metaphor. Like they work with a concept. And this is like they cover every, like, as ridiculous as this story gets, because this story goes in some fucking wild directions that I'm just like, all right, sure. Yeah. It's an RPG. I'm doing this and that. That's kind of, I expect it almost at this point.
Yeah.
But I think by the time you like wrap it up at the very last second of this game, I came away like, holy shit, these motherfuckers did it. These motherfuckers, like all the things that they said in the beginning of the game, they had an answer to it by the very end. And the way they answer that is very unique. It is unique, at least in terms of a video game.
Sure.
Right.
Because I think there's a level of fourth wall that this game shows you the very first second of this game. The narrator is talking to you, the player. And the very first thing you do, and they talk about this utopia, this fantasy world. In Metaphor's world, their fantasy world is our world, and they have like this unrealistic utopian vision of what our world was like. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of this reverse, and that's kind of like, oh yeah, I see what they're trying to do. So they start with very simple concepts, but the way they play with them is actually very clever. And in that process, there's an 80-hour RPG that you play. And so as with any other Atlas RPG, you become personally invested in the things that you are doing because of the way those games force you to interact with the rest of the world, where you're building bonds, interacting with characters. Characters are like, for some reason, these characters want to trauma dump on this blue-haired kid who's trying to be elected king. Like, fucking hell yeah, let's go. But in that process, you learn they're all vessels for telling you how fucked up that world is. And the actions you take are helping their lives, which is indicative of you trying to be elected as king, to be like, hey, I'm trying to make the world a better place by doing this, this, and that. I'm trying to earn the support. I'm trying to show y'all that a tyrannical king who thinks he has all the power, all the military power in the world isn't going to solve your problems. Love is the answer, I guess.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. If people just were just nice to each other.
Oh, Niki doesn't like love.
Yeah. There's no fucking in this game though.
Whoa. Wow. Well,
yeah.
Too bad, Atlas.
And there's no fucking.
That's $140 you just lost on this podcast.
It's
Niki
woke.
and I are definitely not buying this shit.
It's woke and sexless. You hate to see it.
Wow. Wow. It's just like the future Democrats won.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think this game is smarter than the Democratic platform. I'll tell you that much.
Wow.
Wow. We're just throwing bombs.
If the Democrats want to really win the hearts and minds of us, they should look to Metaphor should be their platform.
In every home, every man, woman, and child will get a copy of Metaphor ReFantazio for the PlayStation 5.
Oh God. My God. Yeah.
Guys, President Joe Biden, let me tell you. Hold on a second. Hold on. Every man, woman, and child gets a free copy. Metaphor ReFantazio. Go to the polls. Show them you've played Metaphor ReFantazio.
What's happening?
You get two stickers. Now I'm Trump.
Now are you?
You're blurring lines here.
You like saw the line and you were like, I don't need this.
I don't know. I don't even know what to do.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right. So it holds up. It kind of makes good on its promises. Mm-hmm.
Does it
tell us about? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I jumped in there. Can you finish?
Okay.
Can you ask your question? No,
I was going to say
that I did that, John.
No, it's okay. Just tell us about kind of like the meat and potatoes of if it's 80 hours. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
like tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's if you've played a Persona game, you're kind of familiar with the balance between turn-based combat and social simulation. So, I mean, throughout this game, you go through dungeons and fight monsters. That's a big part of it, of course. But it's contextualized and like you live in a very dangerous fantasy world. And there are details this game does really well about showing you how and why people are so afraid of venturing off of their cities and towns and villages, where literacy in that world, literacy is at an all-time low. Very few people know how to read. Maps are extremely valuable in that game, like in that game world. They give you a map of the world and they're like, do not lose this. This is very valuable information that very few people have access to. So that kind of gives you an idea of why this world is such a dangerous place. So anywhere you venture off to is like high-level monsters, and you do favors for NPCs as side quests. So you go off into a dungeon, fight a bunch of monsters, retrieve an item or save a person or whatever the case might be, or hunt for bounties. That's another thing that you do. And the way this game is built is the same as Persona, where here's the main quest objective. You have 12 days to take care of it. And you run on a calendar system. So you live daily life. You have how you're going to spend your afternoon, how you're going to spend your night. And you could do it. You could go off to side quests, which takes time out of your calendar day, or you can like hang out with people and build your bonds, and various other things. But like those are the two main things that you do. So a big part of this game is like the sense of adventure you get, because if you want to do a side quest and go to a dungeon, you have to actually travel there, and you spend a day on your gauntlet runner, which is the vehicle your party hangs out on. So it like feeds into that sense of adventure. And when you get to the dungeon, you do the turn-based combat, and if you played an SMT game, if you played a Persona game, it's very similar, but they've revamped the combat system to be a little bit more in depth, a little bit more interesting, and they use a job system now. So you're not like monster collecting like it's Pokemon in a Persona game or a Shin Megami Tensei game. They built a job system called archetypes, and it's a really interesting system. It's really fun to mess around with because then you now compose your party in any which way you want, and the way you mix and match abilities is genuinely interesting. I wish the enemies themselves were a little bit more dynamic in terms of challenge. But messing around with the system itself is a lot of fun. So if you're a sicko for a job system you've seen in like FF Tactics or something, or any Final Fantasy game that uses a job system, I think this is a really good version of that. It's super fun. Like the turn-based combat is super fun. It plays out like a puzzle where one thing I will say is that high-level enemies, it's not in Persona games. You usually like, okay, what's their elemental weakness?
Sure.
A lot of enemies in this game do not have elemental weaknesses, and you need to create your own advantages. And that's because this game gives you a lot more tools. Cool. So I think it's easier, or it's not easier to do that, but it's more cerebral. Like you have to think a little bit more like, oh, I have this debuff spell and I could combine it with this debuff. So then I can use this spell that I couldn't have used otherwise. So there's a lot of that, especially with boss fights. And I think that there are moments when I was just kind of going through the motions to get through like low level enemies, whatever. But when I got to boss fights that actually challenged me, I'm like, oh, okay, now I see the vision. I see what they're trying to do with this combat system. So that's obviously a huge part of this game. And then building the bonds, spending days with characters to learn more about them, see their story. And the way the bonds feed into how you build your party, because you unlock jobs in the archetype system through building bonds. You get all these different advantages like inherited spells and skills through building bonds, and you get like powered up through that, and you have access to new jobs through building bonds. So Atlas has been very good about this, but more so in Metaphor than any other game about making sure that all of the systems tie into each other. So you have a reason to do it. You're not just like talking to characters and hanging out with them for the sake of it. It's like, no, you'll get something tangible in return for that. So you're constantly working towards something that is valuable to the experience. So that's how you move through the calendar system. You do your main objectives, which is usually like a big story dungeon with a big boss fight in the end and a big plot twist to go along with it. And you do that multiple times. And I think it's interesting how they play with that expectation, because Persona games have kind of fallen into a formula that's a bit predictable but still good. So they use that framework, but they do play around with it a little bit more in this game to varying degrees of success, I'll say. I still think it works really well for the story that you're trying to like, hey, I'm trying to build a following and like support to win an election. So I'm doing all of these favors for people. Then there's like political drama, insurgency, and like being a double agent in some parts. So it does interesting things with the main story as you go through the motions of an Atlas RPG. And then by the end, you are going fucking balls to the wall, god killing type shit. The typical things you expect out of an RPG. Like this game does it in its own way. So by the end, I'm like, yeah, I kind of knew this kind of thing was coming, but the way they execute it is still like, damn, y'all really like pulled it off extremely well.
That's cool.
How to music?
Yeah, how to music?
Oh, how to music? It's funny because it took a while for the music to grow on me.
So not just like immediate bangers like Persona has been putting out. Okay.
It took a little while because this is more of an orchestral score than it is like a pop soundtrack.
Right.
Because that's and I think like all the Persona games do really well where they make like Shoji Meguro is very good about making songs to then fit into a video game.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like plays them as like a custom soundtrack in a way. And those songs are specifically written for those games and like say a lot about what those games are about, what they're saying, what the characters are feeling. Whereas Metaphor is we have opera singers, we have a classical orchestra. We are like weaving this in a more traditional like fantasy world. So it's a little different, but over time I started to pick up on the melodies and the motifs. So once I was deep in the game, I was humming along to the battle themes, to the boss themes, to the town themes. So this isn't like a soundtrack that I'm going to like pull up on Spotify and listen to and sing along to as I do with like Persona songs. Like Persona soundtracks feel like I can just like, I was just like buy them at a Circuit City and then play them in my car. How fucking washed am I?
That's what we do.
I'm fucking washed.
Today.
But yeah, it's not like I'm listening to a 12-track album. But rather these are all songs that weave into the experience of the world. So it's very different, but I think it works for what the game is going for. And I think the way they used like the opera vocals at first, I was kind of like, this is kind of weird. I don't know if I'm digging this, but then by the end, I was like, ooh, man, this is unique. They use the vocals in a pretty unique way, but the orchestral melodies, they really grew on me. I'm just like humming along to them. I'm like, damn, I miss that feeling, that soundtrack. So it's very different, but it works for what it's going for.
Is this a game that you? Oh.
No, go.
I was going to say, is this a game that you can play faded? When I was looking at the TVs when I was at SGF, not faded, I was like, this seems like it would be scary to look at if I was faded. How does it? Is it?
Oh, this game gets freaky.
Okay.
Some of the monster designs are disgusting. Do you know the painting? Was it the fucking by Bosch, the Earthly Desires, or
sure. It's Garden of Earthly Delights.
Yes, Garden of Earthly Delights.
Right. Yeah.
If you look at that painting, that is Metaphor's world design. Like,
okay,
1-to-1.
What's this egg guy?
So the egg guy is actually, this isn't spoilers because this people will be playing this game at this point. It's in my review. The egg guy is the first like major boss that you fight. Like 1-to-1. It is exactly that. They literally pull the designs, some of the designs from that painting and turn them into enemies in the game. Like it's not like a reference. It is just directly pulled from that. But but that kind of like, it has informed the rest of the world and character designs of that world. So it's not just like, oh, fantasy, it has magic and monsters and shit. They do some freaky shit. They do some real freaky shit. And there's some things that, part of the embargo is I can't show in my video review because they want to preserve the surprise for people who are going to play this day one, I guess. These motherfuckers, they are, I'm not going to say they're cooking, but
they're doing something over there.
They're doing something over there. Some of the boss designs, I'm just like, ooh, y'all are different. But I think that's good.
They're putting Mr. Beast Lunchables in a blender and drinking them. That's what they're doing over there.
Hey, that's nutritional value according to according to Billy Beast himself. So yeah, if you're like cooked, if you're like high off like 50 milligrams, about to reach fucking escape velocity, I don't know if I can recommend.
All right, that's huge. Put that on the back of the box, Atlas.
Kind of same question, but different vibe. My old eyes kept watching previews of this, and I watched Jess Cogswell's video review over at GameSpot. Shouts to Jess. I as I watched that review, I started going, I don't know if this much UX is going to hold up for 80 hours. Is that like, was that just something you kind of got used to, or because it is gorgeous. Like this is a team that really understands maximizing UI, UX in really interesting ways. These menus look fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. The battle system, the way you select things, it all looks so incredibly slick, but it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff on the screen at one point. And I'm just kind of curious if that ever kind of grated on you or weighed on you.
No, I think because it's still functional. I think that's the important part is that, it's flashy, but it works still. And you kind of get used, or I got used to it, where for me, it was like, I'm no longer impressed by it, but it still looks cool as fuck. Because after hour 20, I'm like, okay, this is just how the character, this is what the game is. Like. Yeah. I don't personally, I didn't find it like distracting or like overwhelming. But if you do, I totally get it because it's fucking a lot, and it happens because this game, for it being a turn-based RPG, this game moves at a very brisk pace.
Interesting.
You'll go in and out of a turn-based battle like very fast, because that's just kind of how Persona has been. They don't want to like bog you down and like, I don't know. It's like, oh, I got to wait for this attack to go. And then it's like, oh, this long ass spell that I wait for. Oh, I got to wait for the game to load into the battle and then load out of battle. It's like, no, we're fucking moving. We're moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think the UI is, the way that UI moves is kind of feeds into that sense of momentum that you have. So it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't feel like, hey, look at this menu because it's cool. It's just like, hey, this is like how we transition from one thing to another. So it's still functional in that way. But I will say that I think specifically the archetype menu, they use like a Destiny like radial menu to navigate it. And I think that's the one area in which this game chose style over function, because it looks cool. You have like this grid that's it's asymmetric grid with all the different branches for the different jobs that you can spec into. But navigating that is a pain in the ass. I'm like, please just, can you list them like in a menu or like in a branching, like however the fuck, because this is unintelligible, especially when you get to like the late game where you have 20 different jobs unlocked and you're trying to like switch between them or see which ones you have leveled up, which ones you want to like put on whatever character. Yeah, it's like, oh my God. At a certain point, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep these characters on these jobs and not worry about anything else. And I think that was indicative of having to navigate the menus.
Right.
Which is like a little disappointing. It's like, oh, I wish I could be a little bit more flexible, but the actual UX of it has discouraged me from doing that, which yeah. And then, like at a certain point, I kind of like devised my party build and was like really happy with it. And it got me through the toughest battles. So it wasn't like I was at a disadvantage, but it's just like, this is like one of the cooler elements of the game. I just wish you kind of delivered it in a more
differently.
Yeah. So that's one thing I'll say about the UI, but otherwise this game, there's no other game that looks like this.
Yeah. That was because it was in the Sega booth at SGF and we were playing Monkey Ball, I think. And I kept turning around and being like, wow, video games can look different.
Yeah.
Like looking directly at Monkey Ball, like looking at the Monkey Ball, because the Monkey Ball station was like really tight in the corner and the seat was about like 6 inches away from this like 40-inch TV. So we were really close up to the screen looking up at the Monkey Ball. Like,
let me tell you about playing Sonic at the Sega booth.
That was rough. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was the one thing I was like, wow, maximalist. Absolutely. Yeah. I can see myself getting tired of looking at it for as long as I know this video game is going to be.
Yeah. That can happen. But personally, like I'm a sucker for Atlas's dumb bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess I'll get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check this out. I think my lingering question, you mentioned pacing, you mentioned 80 hours. Persona 5 is a 100-hour investment at its base level. Is 80 hours something that is that also base level because you're being segmented in this very kind of regimented way, or is it 80 hours like you felt like you did a lot, you didn't have to spend 80 hours? I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah. It took me 80 hours. Some people took 70. So I would say 70 to 80, which is still long for sure.
That's still a big game.
That's a big ass investment, more so than other RPGs for sure.
Like 30 hours more than I need, I think.
But that is kind of, Atlas RPGs are successful in what they do because of the time it takes to get through one, which and I admittedly, like, it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to like sit with the same game for 80 hours. I get it. But they use that 80 hours effectively. And I think, and I say this in my reviews, that this is the least amount of filler I've seen in an Atlas RPG. Like you get to a certain point, like Persona 3 or 4 or 5, any of those games. And then you're like, okay, I just need to get through the calendars. Like, I'm hanging out with people. I'm just like, I'm going to the ramen shop. I'm going to work. Like, I'm just doing these things because like, that's what I have to build up these stats, whatever. Metaphor cuts out a lot of the filler bullshit. So when you level up your social stats, or if you want to rank up a bond, it's like, this is exactly how you do it. And this is when you can do it. And you have to do less things to get access to the thing you actually want to get from these characters. So it's a lot more efficient. It's so much more efficient. It's the same framework, but it's so much more efficient. So you're still like spending 70 and 80 hours, but it still feels more dense. And there are less, because of the way personas have been structured around like a school year, where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to start, the school year starts in like April or whatever, and it's going to end in like February or whatever. So like we have to take you through that. But this game's like, no, we're dealing with something else. There's an election that's going to happen on this day. How we get there, this is how we're going to segment it. So, and everything in between feels a little bit more purposeful. So it doesn't necessarily waste your time. Don't get me wrong, still a long game, but it doesn't feel like I'm just like spinning my wheels to wait for the next thing to happen. It's like, okay, the next thing is going to happen. I'm going to knock all this out. So when I get to that thing, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm prepared. I did all I needed to do.
That kind of speaks to like the intrinsic nature, a lot of the social bond stuff from Persona games, that it's like you're benefiting from that, not necessarily in a one-to-one. You get something out of it from the gameplay perspective. That sounds like you're getting in Metaphor, where it's like, okay, you're maxing these social bonds, also getting all these benefits from it. Like, I can see where someone who's a huge fan of Persona is like, well, yeah, but like those bonds, those filler moments, that's really what you remember from like your warm, fuzzy feeling of that game. But yeah, for like a broader audience, less of that might be a good thing.
Yeah. So it's like different. It's like different flavors of the same thing.
Sure.
And yeah, I do think that this is more appealing to a broader audience that isn't necessarily like, because like for me, I love those quiet moments in a Persona. Like when I was playing Persona 5, and that was all I had for. I was like, in a place I barely knew anybody. It was like, oh, I can spend like 2 hours playing this game and not even advancing the main story. Cool.
Exactly.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But I think now as if I'm reviewing this game, I'm like, yo, buddy, we need to come on. Like,
we got like stuff to do.
It's like, I bought you ramen 3 times. Can we be better friends yet?
Ryuji, I don't give a fuck about your problems. So
it's I think it's more appealing in that sense, but it doesn't like break away from the core ethos that makes an Atlas RPG. So it's like, hey, we're gonna do what we do best, and we'll try to compromise with y'all who might not be into that much of the life simulation element of the game.
Yeah,
cool.
What is your Circuit City now? Oh my god,
what's your Circuit City now?
I don't know what's there anymore. I think they may have replaced it with I think they replaced it with a Best Buy, but at the same time, I think Best Buy might be on its way out too. Like, I don't know.
Best Buy. I mean, it's still the best place to go look at stuff you're going to buy on Amazon.
Yeah, they still apparently they still employ Niki, so Niki can't say that they're unemployed.
I still work there.
Yeah, I still work there. Mine is at Sprouts.
Oh, it's the Sprouts.
Okay.
Wow. So that's so funny though, what you just said about the Best Buy Amazon thing, because it's like, why do we do that? Because Best Buy explicitly says, if you show us what Amazon is charging for it, we'll just match that price. But nobody does that. They just go, "I'll just get it on Amazon."
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
I've been inside of Best Buy and then purchased the item on Amazon in the Best Buy.
That's fucking crazy.
I've done that too. It made me feel really dirty. It made me feel really gross and weird. Like I took a picture of something once and a guy saw me do it, and then I like ordered it on Amazon within like the next 5 minutes. I'm like, what a bummer. What a bummer for those people.
Yeah, Jeff loves you, man.
Yeah. And that,
did you buy anything on Jeff's sale?
No, but
I did.
Oh, y'all are part of the problem.
I am.
The problem. Yep.
Yeah,
John, what'd you buy?
I bought a
laptop. iPad?
I bought a PC laptop.
Wow, what kind?
Yeah.
Which one?
It was the one that PC Gamer likes. It was like the Asus something. Yeah. I can't fucking remember the name of it, but it was good. It was good specs, good price.
You should.
I bought it because for Glider we'll like go to different things, and Rick his laptop, like bless his heart, it's about 15 years old, Oh, and it barely runs like Fallout 3. So it's like we're like, all right, it's time to get a good one.
I bought dog powder, dog bone powder.
Dog powder.
Dog bone powder?
I can't believe you're allowed to buy that on Amazon. It's like it feels like
it's fucked up. It's bone meal.
Oh, do you like keep powder. Do you keep it with like your onion powder, your garlic powder, and paprika and shit?
Yeah,
cook with it.
Put it on your egg. Delicious.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
Put it on your eggs.
It's beef bones ground up into powder that I put on Barley's food.
Yeah,
it helps her knees or whatever.
Yum 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 yum.
And then I got what else was the other thing I got? Air
pod.
An air filter?
Nope.
Air fryer.
Air compressor.
Oh, for basketball.
You plug it in your car, put your fucking. But I thought it had a battery in it.
L,
big fat L. Got to plug it in a cigarette lighter.
L.
I have a question.
Wow. Yeah, what's up?
So Barley consumes beef bone dust
powder. Yeah.
To make sure
her bones
knees are stronger. So you're just absorbing cow bone. So cow then bone, does she become part cow?
In the same way, it's a great question.
In the same way that when I eat a steak for protein, do I just am I just like part cow now? Because like I'm extracting that protein from that steak, from that cow steak into my muscles. So that's crazy.
I think you are part cow for as long as it is in your body.
Oh, okay. The protein is like agnostic of where it came from because protein is just protein, right?
Yeah.
You're getting that cow DNA in you. I mean, there's cow DNA.
There's cow DNA in you, so you're part cow. Damn, but I do think it's like you're at 100% of your DNA, and then on top of that, you're like
you've got a surplus. You're overbuffed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like Doom guy. Like Doom guy with the shield.
Yeah. It's like overshield.
It's overshield, but
I'm 100% health, 7% cow, 8% pork. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
Now,
it's a metaphor.
You know what else is a metaphor?
What's up? Roblox is a hellscape for children.
It's a metaphor for the death of our nation.
An explosive report. See what I did there from Hindenberg Research. What a wild name for a company.
I don't get it.
You don't get the joke. Hindenburg. It was an airship, a dirigible that exploded. Niki.
Hindenburg. Hindenburg disaster.
There you go.
Interesting. So when you search Hindenburg, I wonder if before 2 days ago, if you Googled Hindenburg Roblox, if you could have played a simulation in Roblox.
You probably could have.
But now you can't, if you can believe it.
The
SEO on that one's a little good.
You can find this report. It's called Roblox Inflated Key Metrics for Wall Street and a Pedophile Hellscape for Kids. What a fucking headline. That is an incredible headline.
It's such a fucking banger too, because I've never been on this website before. So I don't know how they format literally anything. But the first 1,000 words of this are bullet point.
They're bullet points.
It's just 25 bullets.
Yeah. They saw fucking Steven Totillo's Axios things and they were like, fucking bet. Like bang, 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 bang. How about a million of these?
And each, as you go down,
they're crazier
or deranged.
Let's just read some of these, honestly. Just some background on Roblox. It's a $27 billion online gaming platform. You probably know what it is, especially if you've watched Roblox oof.mp3 or whatever, the amazing H-Bomber guy video. Stock trades at 8.6 times sales. A 57% premium to gaming peers, pricing and expectations of rapid future growth and profitability. They've cashed out $1.7 billion in stock. That's insiders since the company's IPO listing, or direct listing, I should say. Investors have sold roughly 150 million in stock, including 115 million by CEO. How do you say that name?
What's his name? Where is
David Badshuki? I think it's probably Batsuki. Anyway, Roblox is not profitable. Basically, has never been profitable. Was the entire thing here?
What a fucking shock!
Even though they run essentially what is a sweatshop, you can make content in that game. They can't even run a sweatshop, right?
Like that's the thing that is so nuts to me.
Yeah,
they have not spent any. The game looks like it was made by a kid from the beginning.
It does. Yep.
Like there are kids making the video.
I literally Niki. I literally thought that was honestly actually the point when it first came out. I was like, oh, some guy and his kid made this.
Yes. No. Yeah. There's a team of people who are working on making it look like that.
Yes.
Intentionally.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they spend. I don't know how you lose money. All you do is run servers for kids to make shit on your fucking computer,
and just take the top off.
Take the top off. Like it's not hard. Like it isn't hard, but they are losing.
But they're losing money.
Well, they're losing the company. Crucially, the company is losing money. People are making money.
People are
just not the kids who are making the video games.
This is the real revolution where the subjects of the sweatshop are actually the ones who are benefiting from this.
Are the ones
model.
benefiting? Yeah. Roblox woke. Anyway, Roblox wrote in a 2022 quarterly report there are over 54 million people coming to Roblox every day, but then they have now since later admitted they really can't identify users with multiple accounts.
Yeah,
so they have no real handle on what their DAU, daily active user count, actually is. It's just a ton of wild a wild report, and then it gets into details about like how it is dangerous for kids. In addition to alternate accounts, bots are rampant on the platform. For example, Roblox's seventh most popular game, Adopt Me, has garnered over 83,000 change.org signatures to remove it from the platform due to extensive botting that breaks the game. Which is amazing. Their second most visited game is called Blocks Fruits, dominated by traffic for Vietnam. Mostly like nobody real is doing that, but it's soliciting tools to run 20 plus Roblox bot tabs at a time, which is completely nuts. So there's just a ton of engagement, farming, and spoofing and bullshit happening, which should not surprise anyone.
Right now.
You're playing Roblox right now? Great.
This is the free market at work, dog.
This is the free market at work. Beyond inflated key user metrics, this is a direct quote, our in-game research revealed an X-rated pedophile hellscape, exposing children to grooming, pornography, violent content, and extremely abusive speech. And it goes off the rails from there. There are digital strip clubs that basically make no differentiation between adult and child users. There are Jeffrey Epstein fan accounts, which is a fucking sentence I was not expecting to read in my life. There are just so many. I mean, it's not funny. It's not funny, really, but. Registered as a child, we were also able to access games like Escape to Epstein Island, Diddy Party. We found over 600 Diddy games, including Survive Diddy and Run from Diddy Simulator.
It's funny because it's like, it's
so bad. It's so bad.
It's comically bad.
Yes,
right.
Yes, because it is like, it is the bare minimum.
Right.
If you are employing this many people, what the fuck are they doing? Mm-hmm. If not looking out for this stuff specifically and explicitly. That's why it's funny, because it's like, oh, they don't know what the fuck they're doing out there. They're just out there, just like they turned the computer on and they close their fucking eyes and they're like, well, there's nothing bad could possibly be happening. I'm not looking.
If you're developing Roblox, close your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
New hit video game podcast.
That's what they're fucking doing over there. It's like, it is so. It's appalling, right? Because it's like, this is ostensibly to be a person that is in charge of running a thing for children, to have so little regard for the audience that you cannot do the bare minimum for them of protecting them from people who are predators, and like also stopping them from doing things that they might think is funny but is actually harmful to them because they are being inundated with a bunch of shit from the rest of the world.
Correct.
Like it's just basic moderation stuff. It doesn't happen.
It's like one of the highest levels of gross negligence because
massive.
Because Roblox, that's a platform. And with any platform that anyone uses, whether it's social media or a forum or a website, whatever, there's moderation. You have people who take care of those things because it's essential to your survival. There's a place that people want to go to. But you think about it, and I'm not like saying this. I'm not like saying this as a concrete statement, but it seems like they are like they have a vested interest in not regulating these kinds of things.
100%.
Because it's
that's not a hot take, but I'm just like, I just want to make sure.
Because then all of the engagement metrics that they would have to absolutely wrangle to like all the legitimate engagement that they would have to completely shut off because it just completely violates every sort of kind of child protection law in the country. In tandem with shutting off all the engagement bullshit that they're getting caught red-handed on, that their investors are not going to be psyched about. It's going to cut their traffic engagement by into 1/3 or something, which is then what value do you have? It's not the one that you say.
The second that they go into a meeting and they're like, well, we had to turn off Diddy Party, and that is a quarter of our revenue.
Or beat up the pregnant, or public bathroom simulator vibe.
Imagine going into a meeting and
the government has to do something at some point.
Imagine going into a meeting and be like, all right, morning stand up, top 5 performing games on Roblox today. It's like, Diddy Party is going fucking wild this week. Like
cracking. I mean, it is unreal. Ever since we put baby oil on discount, Diddy Party has been going absolutely buck wild. There's someone that's bragging about that,
which is still up, by the way.
Still up?
Still up?
How do you look? Because there's no way they don't see
1,000
this.
people playing it right now.
Like they know this is happening, and the way in which you kind of I imagine they look at it and be like, well, it's popping off, so let's let it go. Yeah. And it's wild that a company can operate like that for so long. Yes. And I imagine they have operated under that pretense for so long that when they see something like these new crops of games popping up, they kind of look at them like, well, that's just Roblox. That's just what this is. And kind of build a level of indifference to when those things happen in their game.
Correct.
Which is, it's nuts.
And I don't know, to not make money off of it. Not make money on it is crazy.
Yeah, not only are you a terrible person, but you also suck at your job.
Yeah.
Right. They're not it'd be one thing if they were like, yeah, we've actually become insanely, obscenely profitable running what is a sweatshop that doesn't care about children's safety at all. I'd be like, yeah, that sense. Checks out. That's
what the internet is.
It feels like it's on the internet. You're a terrible person and you're going to whatever hell you deserve. But you did the capitalist thing. No, it's like, we're fucking this up really bad. I'm like, so your heart is just evil and you're stupid.
It's evil and you're stupid.
Good job.
And we can just turn it off. That's the other, just turn it off.
Yeah.
They're like, for a while I was like, oh, Fortnite doesn't have this issue, right? There's not you can't boot up Fortnite and go play public bathroom simulator because there's an adult.
The most embarrassing shit you could do, they built themselves, like the Martin Luther King Museum that was there. Yeah. It's like they step on their own rakes and they're not harming children. Yeah. Right.
And it's just Yeah. Also, this went up 2 days ago.
Yes.
Most of the things that are in this list are still up.
Yeah. Right. So they don't care.
Like I've typed in and logged into most of the things in this list that
Roblox responded very shortly after this went up. They gave a statement, I believe, to either IGN or it was just reported by IGN. But IGN's tweet about it was so fucking funny because I think it was just what they said, but it's just like they said, yeah, well, that's a little misleading or something like that. And I'm like, oh, guys, if a 100,000 word report goes up with the most specific evidence that you are fucking up beyond everyone's expectations, you go, well, it's a little misleading. Boy, like your entire PR department needs to be shut down.
Show y'all really quick, and this is going to be audio poison.
But
I just want to show you.
I'll go say you can read this report right now at hindenburgresearch.com/Roblox. It is not an easy read. There are things in it that are very difficult to read. We actually weirdly scratched the surface on the bad parts of this. Okay.
I'm showing Michael and John public bathroom simulator. My character's name is John Elway's dad because I had to make a new account because they wouldn't let me. Elway but dad. It's just like this is what the experience is. You walk in here and there's 15 fucking people.
They all look like Lego miniatures, basically.
Except this person is
except that
that's
guy's
a person.
Tall. Yep.
Like what's happening here? And then this is like I'm not letting my kids touch this. This makes my kids sick.
This would make me deeply uncomfortable if I saw anybody playing like this.
Yeah, 100%.
Deeply uncomfortable.
Water looks good.
Put that on the back of the box.
Water looks good. Anyway, I know we have taken a fairly lighthearted approach talking about this, but for real, it is really bad. The entire report is really damning. It is terrible. The people who did all of this, I'm not a person that believes in incarceration, but everyone should probably be in jail that has done all of this. So it's really tough, but I think it's honestly maybe the most important thing that will come out this year in terms of a piece of writing that thoroughly eviscerates what is a terrible, terrible company running a terrible, terrible product.
I'm just like not convinced that anything happens is my like pushback on like I do agree that it is important.
To me that we have not addressed Elon Musk's extremely clear pattern of government and electoral interference and just the fact that he's running like some of the most like actively dangerous to people businesses in the world. If we're not actually addressing that, we're not going to touch Roblox.
No, we're not going to touch this, right? And it's
probably not.
If we were a culture that valued our youth, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Then systemically outside of a report like this, anyone in their right mind would open Roblox with their child and look at the thumbnails of the things available on the platform and say,
and be like, no, you could literally never play this game.
You can't use this. But that's not, we don't live there, right?
Yeah.
And that there's a reason why it's bigger here than it is in other countries, right? Like there is a different approach to the way that we treat our kids, especially in the United States, that is purpose built to create environments where shit like this is allowed. Where
we generally find it very difficult to talk to our children about very difficult subjects. And so we just let them kind of get this distance to kind of explore things on their own, even if they're incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's really, really scary. I'm not none of us on this show right now are parents.
That I know of.
That we know of. Yeah.
I have a secret family, but
that's true. Maybe that's true. But it's like, I talk to my own friends who have kids and they're like, we are actively fighting to not get them to play Roblox. Yeah. It is a weekly occurrence that we are asked to allow them to do this because their friends are doing it and want them to do it, but they're fighting against that. And it's just like,
I will put so
really
many. I will put literal drugs in front of my child. I think before Roblox.
Yeah.
I want to try to get Patrick Klepek on soon to talk about this.
Oh, I'm sure his brain is so big on this topic.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to get a couple parents chatting about this because it's
he runs a whole blog about being a dad.
He runs the whole thing, which is great. I pay for it every month. It's great. It's called Crossplay. You should check it out.
Can I read you the top before we leave this? Can I just read you the top 10 games? Like I just logged in. The only game I've played on here is Public Bathroom Simulator on this account.
Great. You're definitely on some sort of list. Yeah. You're gonna show up on there's gonna be an amendment on the Hindenburg Research that's like, yeah, John Elway's dad is the worst perpetrator on the entire Roblox.
John Elway.
So number 1 is Dress to Impress. Y'all know what that is, right?
Oh yes. I've seen that on TikTok many times. Yes,
it's a game inside of Roblox where it's a dress up game. You get a theme, and then you get your character, and you get a bunch of clothing options, and then you put the outfit on the doll, and then the other people in the lobby vote on who is the best one.
Yes,
so that's the most recommended because it is, I think, one of the most played experiences on Roblox. The second one is for a game called Rivals.
Okay,
it's nothing. Again, explicitly for children. And like, I just need to make this very clear. It's just called Rivals. There's a picture of 3 Roblox guys and they're all shooting guns. The next one is called Gunfight Arena Update. And it's just a picture of a pistol. The next one is called Floor 2 Doors. The third
next on Fox, Floor 2 Doors.
Well, Floor 3 Roofs.
The next one is called Phantom Forces, which is just another military shooter. The next one is called Pressure, and it's a very scary, like, you know those ink blot things that you do at the beginning of Fallout New Vegas? It looks like that, but it's scary.
Yeah, from nothing else. The only play from nothing else. Yeah.
And then there's a thing called Natural Disaster Survival, which is just the thumbnail is a picture of a house being hit by an explosion and a comet.
Oh boy. Okay.
And then something called NFL Universe Football, and it has the NFL logo and the Chicago Bears logo, and there's an NFL logo or an NFL football being thrown, and you can read Roger Goodell's signature on the football.
Yo,
it is sitting right next to something called Frontlines, another military shooter. Next to something called Arsenal, another military shooter. Next to something called Ultimate Home Tycoon, which has a picture of a Cybertruck parked in a driveway. And then Fruit Game Restored, which is just a Suika game clone.
Shit.
Those are the top 10 recommended.
It's the Wild West out there.
Like, yeah, truly. Like, truly, there's nobody is looking.
Yeah.
Like the NFL.
Or if they are, they're looking the other way.
Actual NFL licensed thing?
No, there's no way. There's no fucking way.
It might be.
Really? Roger Goodell made it himself.
I think it is.
It's licensed by the NFL?
I do think this is licensed.
That's
because it says formerly known as Ultimate Football, and it's called NFL Universe Football.
Damn.
I think this might be
September press release on NFL.com. September 12th, 2024. NFL and Voldex team up for NFL Universe Football on Roblox.
Can't even give a good license to 2K.
Nope.
Damn.
Yeah, this is what that carve out is for. He is amped about this.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like this is just like, if I'm the NFL, right? You've signed this deal that can't be worth anything more than like $25,000 or $30,000, right? Like it's not. It's for zero money. You take this shit down next week, right? Like this doesn't exist.
Not only do you take it down, but I mean, I would sue Roblox for gross negligence to basically have them putting your product and your license and your images next to this crap. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, I hope John Elway's dad is at least playing that game.
Yeah, I'll log in. I'll pop in.
Yeah, log into that. Play that one.
Yeah. Speaking of John Elway's dad, John Albert Elway Sr. Guess when he beefed it, or how old he was when he beefed it.
Ooh. I'm gonna say I think he might have gotten to be old, like an old white. So I'm gonna say 98 years old is when he.
Okay,
I was gonna say 97. I was gonna say 97.
Nope, 69 years old. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Whoa, nice. Wow.
Can find him in Roblox.
That's how old John Elway was when he won his first Super Bowl. So congrats.
Boom.
Damn.
Boom. Well, not even a Nintendo alarm could wake up John Elway's dad from his slumber. Nintendo Alarmo was announced this week. And yes, that's right. It's not a Switch 2, but it's an alarm clock you put on your nightstand that is Nintendo themed. And it made a lot of people mad or something. I don't know. It just seemed goofy to me.
It's just goofy. I think that, like, I don't know.
It's not. Let's. It is a round alarm clock that looks like an alarm clock. It has 5 built-in game themes on it right now. You can download more of them as they come out. It is
crazy thing to say about a clock.
Egregious that it did not ship with an Animal Crossing. That's crazy to me.
Well, it will when it's in Target.
It will when it's in Target. But you can't get it. You can get it now online, or if you are at if you're in New York, you can go to the New York Nintendo store, as I saw many people doing yesterday on TikTok. And it basically uses motion sensing technology to award you if you actually move around when the alarm starts to go off. So let's say you're listening, you've got the Mario theme going, it's playing a Mario Odyssey song, you start to stir, it makes coin noises. But if you basically just lay there and don't move, it's going to get louder and louder and louder and actually change songs to be more intense until you get up. And then Bowser will come out if you don't get up in time, that kind of thing. It uses motion sensing technology. Literally, my first question out loud when I saw this was, wait, what happens if I'm sleeping with my wife? And the answer to that is it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
It basically doesn't work.
Critically, all of the clips were of one person
or a single person sleeping in their bed.
Because it doesn't work. Because as soon as you get up, the beam that it is shooting out at you finds the other person that is like, oh, sick. You moved really weird. That was really weird that you moved that way, but your body is right here.
I'll give them my DNA. To make it work better. If that's what it takes, Alarmo, DNA.
If I gotta spit in this thing every single morning, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Nintendo's gonna buy the fucking 23andMe data that is being floated around with their bankruptcy or whatever. Yeah,
Alarmo too. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So this is for the maidenless.
It's got to
be for the maidenless. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
I just don't understand. This is fundamentally not a product for me because this isn't how I interact with my bed, which makes me feel nuts actually, because it makes me feel like I'm doing it wrong. My alarm goes off. I get out of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sitting in the bed.
You're a better person than I am.
Oh, I get in the bed. I go to sleep. I wake up. I get out of the bed.
Oh wow, yeah, no, that's not how it works for a 40-year-old. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, once you get to my age, listen.
Here's how it works. I set an alarm I set an alarm that in my head sounds good. I go, that's when I want to get up because I've got stuff to do, and then I'll sleep like shit, and then my alarm will go off, and I'll be like, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have set my alarm for that time, and so I set it again for an hour and a half past the time that it woke me up the first time. And then basically I don't go back to sleep. I just sit there and go, oh, it's really not that much time before I have to get up.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I lay there and then I just like stew and I'm angry and I'm sad and I don't feel good until the alarm goes off. And then I kind of get up. That's what happens.
That's tough.
That's every day, baby.
Yeah.
No, the alarm goes off. I say, and then I get up.
Damn.
You're so strong.
That's how Ann is too. Like Ann is just like, it's up and at him. And I'm like, couldn't be me.
Is there drugs that help
for sleeping? Are there sleeping pills? Is that what you're asking?
No, not sleep.
No,
I can go to sleep. I can go to sleep like a motherfucker.
Waking pills.
Yeah,
you got to get smelling salts. Put those fuckers right next to
I was going to say, is that what I should do? Like every morning, Ann should just turn over and get some smelling salts and I'll be like, whoop. And then I'm up.
And you'll wake up.
That's what y'all call Coke nowadays, huh?
Those are smelling salts.
Yeah,
you do smell that salt.
You do smell it.
That shit gets you.
You smell it in your brain. It's really good.
Okay, we're gonna go around the room and we're gonna talk about whether or not cocaine works for you, allegedly. John.
Okay.
I would not know. Genuinely,
never done it. Michael.
Never done it.
I wouldn't know either.
No way.
I've never done cocaine.
Look at you. Look at you're the only one that's done it. You're gonna have to tell us how it was for you.
Coke does
How's
nothing
cocaine,
for me.
Niki? Okay.
It doesn't.
It did nothing. And I think it's because I was on meth for so long.
Like
controlled meth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, for
sure.
My ADHD.
Yeah, so your body is like
this
is like baby shit. Like
I'll take a 64 milligram of Concerta and I'll fucking go. I'll do anything.
You do a rail of Coke, like so what?
Fucking nothing.
Yeah. Do you drink energy drinks?
No.
Or coffee? Or okay.
No. I don't do caffeine.
Oh, I do a lot of caffeine.
No, I do a lot of caffeine.
That's drugs.
Yeah, I remember when
Let's talk about if you've done cocaine. That doesn't do much for me. Caffeine, though.
You're fucking.
Are we bringing back Dare?
No,
I know y'all wanted to bring back
story?
Dare.
Real story, real quick. Irving, Texas bought. This is not a joke. They bought a Cybertruck for $150,000, and they've kitted it out to take to Dare meetings around the
city
Metroplex.
invested in that.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's awful.
Irving, Texas, Cyber. I'm gonna actually.
What are they gonna do with it when they're not? And then what? For what? For what? Half of the fucking money that they got for the Cybertruck was like off of fucking when the cops take your shit. Other than theft, there's a woke word for it.
There's a woke word.
Seizure,
capital
gains
stealing
tax,
whatever. That's it. Capital gains tax. What the fuck? That's crazy.
We should vandalize this Cybertruck, like all Cybertrucks. We should vandalize.
I kicked one a few days ago.
Nice.
It was parked in a church.
Did it fall apart?
Parked in a church. Nah, parked in a church, but I did like jump up.
Should have.
Remember that kick that I tried to do, John, in the big blue space at E319?
I do.
I did that, but landed. It didn't hurt my knee.
Allegedly.
And allegedly. And
allegedly
kicked the Cybertruck. My whole tab, John, went white. I can't see anything anymore. Am I still recording? You can still hear me though, huh?
Yep. Yeah, it still looks and sounds like it's going great. So
I could tell your tab went white because your face lit up.
Yeah,
it did kind of just like
nice.
I gotta get a new computer.
You gotta get a new computer. I think.
Tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
Let's do Hive questions real quick.
Yay.
First of all, this is from Grace. This is for Michael. What's good? That's it.
What's good? Yep. Oh, hey, what's good? What's good? Metaphor's good. That's about it.
Okay. Wow.
Listen,
all right.
Yeah. Well,
all right, so it's kind of like that now.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's okay. Sometimes it'd be like that.
Yeah. I'll say this since I brought up Metaphor.
Okay.
Metaphor is a game in which when I finished it, I felt this overwhelming. I felt a sense of I felt refreshed. I felt like the message of the game and the way it delivered it kind of reminded me that there's a bigger world out there. That there's more to care about. There are things outside of myself that I can get involved in, or there's other things to care about. I've been like so caught up in my own personal problems for like the last like 4 or 5 months. I've been trying really hard to like come to terms with that, break away from it in a healthy way, like therapy and shit. And I replayed Persona 3 and its DLC, and it was like a lot about how to kind of cope with a lot of those problems, I guess. Whereas Metaphor is a little bit of it's a different message in which with the whole game is like, you are connecting with characters on a very intimate level, but the overall message is that there are things that are bigger than us. And when I finished the game, I was like, I guess you are right. So that's what's good.
Sure. Sick. That's a great answer. Imran Khan asks also to Michael, who's your favorite cat?
Wow. Now this is loaded fucking question because you've been watching
question.
Lucy James's cats.
Yeah, you've been watching
6 months. Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
You live at Lucy's house. Are you there right now?
No, I was there last night, watching the babies. I have made so much money off of Lucy. It's crazy.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Take that white woman's money. I love you, Lucy.
If a brown man is making money off of a white woman, are we actually making progress?
Damn.
Who's to say?
Damn.
My favorite cat. Shit. I would tier list cats.
All right, tier list cats. Wow. So,
I can't say. So Imran, this is for Imran. Robo is my favorite cat.
Wow.
Yeah. Robo is my favorite cat. I love Robo so much. Oh, Robo's so cute. Robo is like, if Robo was nicer to me or was like more interested in my presence, Robo would be like number one. Easy.
Oh yeah.
Robo's like if I had to create a character, if I had like a My Player or a My Cat creator, like in a 2K game, I would. The only thing I would change about Robo was I would give her
be 3-point shooting a little bit.
Wingspan would go crazy.
Yeah, if you get a VC for your My Cat, you can get those fuckers to do anything. My cat has 11 lives. I spent so much VC.
Oh my god, that's fucking funny. Holy shit. I would give Robo soft, white, fluffy marshmallow paws.
Oh,
that's what I get.
Wow.
I love everybody's cats. I think every cat that I meet, generally, except for Peanut, which is one of Lucy's cats, are very accepting and warm towards me. Peanut fucking hates my ass. She hisses at me.
Damn.
That's tough.
Still love her, but yeah, she hates me. Robo's up there. I follow like 20 different cat accounts on Instagram, and every morning I wake up, I scroll through my feed. It's all cats. Like them, heart emojis. I'm in the mentions. I have a parasocial relationship with 20 cats from Japan.
That's crazy.
Some of them follow me back and they like all my photos when I post cat pictures. So I'm like,
that's fun.
Only when you post cat pictures, though.
Yeah. I get it.
Where the bread is buttered.
Yeah, I get it. So it's hard to say, but let's just say Robo.
That's a good
Congrats,
question.
Robo.
That's a good answer. Congrats, Robo. All right, what Nintendo IP that will not be added to Alarmo would you add to it? What would the alarm noise be? What would you still haven't gotten out of bed noise be, et cetera, et cetera?
Sure. I think it would be the noise that the Wii makes when you knock it off of the TV stand that it's on while you're playing Wii Sports, and then it goes and then it gets really fucking sick. So I think that would kind of be it, and it would start normally. It would go da-na-na-na-na-na, and then that would be the regular bit. And then when like it was actually time, like if you fucking tossed and turned in there for a while, then it would get progressively more intense. You'd like get to the boxing one, and then a hand would come out of the Alarmo and hit you in the face, and then it would start making the noise that it would make when it falls off the TV stand.
Okay. So the question was, what's not likely to come to Alarmo, but I would want to be on Alarmo? Okay. I'm looking up Nintendo franchises on fandom.com. You're welcome.
Oh, that's me. Yeah. Thanks.
Paying your bills.
Oh, fuck. By using not on time, though, huh?
Well, that's not my problem. Not anymore. It used to. It would happen.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's not. So, fuck y'all. I want. Hold on. I'm looking at this. I want Xenoblade Chronicles. I want. It's what's that fucker's name in Xenoblade 1?
Michael. Charles. Jimmy.
No. Fucking what's it? Not Dunban.
Limber.
The Ryan. It's Ryan time. I want him to say it's Ryan time when it's time to get up. That's like a bark that he says every time you initiate combat. Annoying. It's very annoying. Yeah. So if he repeated that, I'd be like, yeah, shut the fuck up. I'll get out of bed. So shouts out to that. Oh, there's a lot of franchises. Oh my god, Nintendo owns a lot of things.
Yeah, they've been making video games for quite a long time. John, what about you?
What is now I can't remember the name of the game it was on DS.
Electroplankton.
Was it Electroplankton?
Well,
no.
You didn't describe literally any part of it, John, so I don't know.
it was Electroplankton. It's the one where like you would take your Mii and you could have it sing on stage, be like
Tomodachi Life.
Yeah, Tomodachi Life. That's absolutely what it would be. And every single sound would just be that one guy that was like, I'm sitting on my balls. I'm sitting on my balls, like that guy. Like I think what I would put on Alarmo for sure.
I changed my answer to Electroplankton because I think that's actually a good
Electroplankton's a good game.
That game's fucking great.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I was like, I don't think that's the game I'm thinking about. Bad Smash. Yeah, the bad Smash stage.
In Smash.
All right. Sphinx asks, what round of the playoffs did the Padres lose in? This is a trick question because it's this one, baby. The one that they're in right now. The Dodgers are going to beat them.
All right.
That's what's going to happen.
Well,
I don't know, dude.
Here's the thing.
I think Shohei is going to have some sort of crazy game 5. And I think
you're going to give him the juice.
Happen.
Here's the thing. I am a Padres fan. If I had to pick a team, it's the Padres because I'm from San Diego and I've been going to Padres games since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So I have an attachment to Petco Park, Padres. I have to like them. But this is an exciting team that I've been following for quite a while. Once they signed Manny Machado, I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. They're doing something because for a long time, the Padres are like kind of like a nothing franchise. Yeah. And it's like after Tony Gwynn, they were like, we don't really have a claim to fame, I guess. But now they do.
I mean, in uniforms. Like I think like
great uniforms.
Uniforms and colors in sports. Brown and yellow underused.
It's weird. It's weird that brown and yellow works, but they make it work super well.
It's also like their throwback.
Yes. I'm glad that they have gotten away from the military camo because in the early 2010s, like
they got really 2000s,
they loved, which makes sense, obviously. But like they were really putting camo on everything. And I was like, but then since they swapped over to Nike, I think their jerseys have been
absolutely
tasty.
Yeah. Here's what I've said about this series because obviously I'm not Shohei's number one fan, precious baby.
Sure.
Yes. You gave him the money to gamble.
Who's does not know who FanDuel is.
Nope. No idea.
No idea. Yeah. God, I still fucking love that. I've said that the Dodgers can only win this series if Shohei scores all the runs. That's the only way I'll give a Dodgers win. Mm-hmm. If Shohei does not account for at least half the runs that the Dodgers score, they should not win.
And that's why I think yesterday's game was good because we stole that one because it was a bullpen game for us.
Yeah.
And Shohei did not. Shohei had 2 runs, 2 RBIs.
I think he had 2 RBI. I know he had an RBI single. I saw that.
Single, yeah. So I mean, it was a game that is good that we won because we did not have
a starting pitcher.
Pitching.
The pitching's been awful this series. Holy fuck!
It's been really bad. Brutal.
Just bad. I can't watch the Dodgers in the playoffs because it gives me too much.
Get Kershaw flashbacks.
Yeah, literally, yes. I can't watch them play baseball in October. But also, like, I never go into an NLDS series where the Dodgers are playing with the expectation that the Dodgers are going to win the series. Yeah. Like, it is a fool's errand to assume that because the Dodgers are good at baseball, which is true, that they will be good at baseball in October. Like it just does. It never lines up.
Yeah. So this is.
We'll see. It completely tracks that the World Series that the Dodgers have won this decade was the COVID year. Like in a way that I don't feel like the Lakers bubble championship should have an asterisk, but I do feel like the Dodgers World Series championship should have an asterisk on it. It's like I don't know how to explain that feeling.
It's just the vibe.
Like that team was like not supposed to. Yeah.
No, I feel you. I am going to be in New York next week while the NLCS is happening.
Are you going?
I was looking at tickets. The Mets. Hey, the Mets. So I was looking up tickets. They're like $300 for like the worst seats, and I'm like,
oh,
$300 for an NLCS game? Maybe that's not so bad. But I mean, like, there's like a million places.
Not good though.
Yeah, there's so Michael is the thing.
Yeah,
Jake,
there's like
crucially, just wait until like 15 minutes before the game starts.
Yeah, if I go, cool. If I don't, then I don't.
Yeah, because I mean, tickets to the Dodger game were similarly expensive, and then day of they got down to actually like they weren't $300, but they were like in the 170s.
Oh,
and I was like, that was closer to me being like, all right, maybe.
Yeah, you at least texted people
Yes, I did.
To go like, should I do that?
And then I said no. And then
you're basically waiting for people to enable you, and then which is a great move. I do that all the time.
It's great.
Yeah. So
I think just wait until right before the game.
Yeah, because I'm either gonna see it's either gonna be Shohei playing, or it's going to be the San Diego Padres, which I am invested in.
You win either way.
I'm invested. And it's really, it's wild because my dad was a Mets fan. My dad took me to Mets games. He went to Shea Stadium as a kid and stuff. So
he was the apple.
Yeah, he was the apple. Then he beefed it, unfortunately. So I wish he was here to see like the Mets do really well. But part of me hopes the Mets, I got love for the Mets. I hope they don't make it to the World Series, because then that would mean,
that would be toxic, I think.
Yeah. Like, but think about the side talk videos.
Damn.
They'd be amazing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because Yankees fans, whatever. But Mets fans?
Oh.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Mets fans are like, those are some wild motherfuckers, because they've never had shit.
No, they've never had anything.
Daryl Strawberry.
Yeah. Let's talk about someone who loves cocaine.
Loves cocaine. Holy shit. Yeah. He'll tell you it's very effective.
It's super effective.
It works on him every single time. All right, we have a question from Jason. It is, Michael, what are the last 3 games that have made you cry?
Oh, good question. Well, Metaphor's one of them.
Okay.
I think I cried 5 times in Metaphor. There's that. This is all very predictable. So Metaphor, ReFantazio, Persona 3's DLC, and then before that, oh shit. I guess it just depends on what did I play? Did I play Dawn Trail after? Played Dawn Trail after 1,000 Times Resist. So I would say, yeah, Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail. That shit got me. So I mean, kind of predictable, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Predictable doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah.
All right. What is the Aaron Rodgers got Robert Saleh fired equivalent in video games?
Such a good question.
Great. Thanks,
my God.
I literally have been thinking about it all day because it's such a good question.
That's a good question.
I think it is probably when Steve Ballmer fired Don Matrick, right?
Okay.
I think
the
Robert Saleh is more competent at head coaching than Don Matrick was with
doing the Xbox.
Yeah, because
but it was he though? Because I just want everybody to close their eyes and imagine how fucking sick it would be if your Xbox could play a video game and play a TV show at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That would fucking bang, right? Like it would actually fucking bang. If your Xbox had 2 HDMI ports on it right now, it actually would fucking bang.
Yeah.
I think he was right, just too early.
Don Matrick was right. But in this situation, it has to be very clear that you're the one who tried to get this person fired, but you're able to claim no. Because Aaron Rodgers is around saying like, "Oh, I wasn't involved at all."
I didn't even know this guy was on the team.
Yeah,
this guy worked here. That's crazy.
It's like, oh fuck! I looked at the sidelines. I saw the Hat Man. I wanted to see my coach. I'm so glad you guys know what that is. Oh fuck, dude! Maybe he thought his coach was the Hat Man.
Was the Hat Man? That's why he really wanted him fired. He pushed him off him because he thought he was the Hat Man. He thought he was about to die.
Yeah. Oh god, that's so fucking funny. The video game equivalent. I don't know. Maybe like shit. There's a bunch of people who get fired all the time or laid off. I don't know.
I mean, I also interpret it as like a company or a studio making a choice that is baldly not the problem that they're trying to solve. Like,
oh sure,
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, Robert Saleh is probably not the best coach in the world, but like, I went back and watched the tape. He didn't throw 3 interceptions the other day.
No,
that was Aaron Rodgers who did that. You know,
so maybe I don't know.
I know there's something here though.
Sure. Oh yeah.
There's absolutely
I think this shit happens all the time. I mean, like in a different way, it feels a little bit like when Phil Spencer basically like quote got a better job, and then Sarah Bond immediately took all the heat for like the million closures that they had to do.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it's like this kind of like, well, hold on a second, wait a second. I don't know if
you can't
this
dodge
is really how it is.
like that.
Yeah, you can't just dodge it like that. So I thought about that a little bit, but nothing immediately stands out as like, oh, they just fired the wrong person. I don't know. It's hard.
This is like only tangentially related just because of the exact phrasing you just used, John. But I was like, I did think, because I've been playing Starfield recently.
Yeah. God, please, let's talk about that for another 45 minutes.
Did you end up finishing Shattered Space or not?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I did. Do you want to know how it ends?
You were like sure that you weren't going to finish it.
I was halfway through it when I finished talking to you.
Okay.
So like there was another like 3.5 hours worth of stuff. Like the end happens. Like there's no build. It's like all of a sudden you are at the end of it. At the end of this DLC, you've been talking. You get there and there's this ghost who's like, "Oh, fuck it, spooky. You can see me? That's crazy."
They summon a gun too.
Come get me. Well, yes, eventually he does. When you get to the end, you got to go rescue him, right? And the plan is to like get him out of the shattered space. And then it's like, oh, fuck, you can't get him out. But he does tell you he wants to do something. And the thing that he tells you that he wants to do is to do an inquisition and then subsequent genocide. And your choices as the player are do the inquisition and genocide or don't do the inquisition and genocide. Those are your choices that you get as the player.
Moral dilemmas.
Yeah, like deep moral dilemma, like really hard choices that they make you make.
So make your choice. You wake up tomorrow and you are the CEO of Roblox. Or wake up and you're not that. The choice is yours.
That's crazy. Wait, not that that has any like moral bearing, but if you choose genocide, who are you genociding?
You're genociding the rest of society. So like you literally the rest of
that's like omnicide. That's not genocide.
It is you are so this group of people, as I mentioned last week, is like a religious sect that broke off. They believe in this big snake that runs the world. When they tried to do it in the past, they got fucked on this because everyone was like, no, you cannot do your religious genocide on us. So they fought and lost, and then they got sequestered, and everybody in this race now lives on this one planet. And like a race of people that it's one of those like race and religion culture come together, race to ethnicity situation. They're all people. No, there's no aliens in this game, as is
there's no cat boys either.
Yeah, no. So the guy was trying to figure out how he could invent soldiers that could teleport through the shattered space, which is where this guy got stuck, that could teleport through there to be anywhere at any time, and they couldn't die. So they would be invincible, could move across the galaxy instantly, and could do whatever this guy wanted.
Okay.
And and his plan was to take over the rest of the settled systems and to destroy the rest of the settled systems and make this religious group, House of Varun, the only race in space.
Okay. Yeah, I know what that is.
It is insane. But the reason I tell this story is that I'm like, if you were to say in 2011, right, that Microsoft is going to have all of these studios, then yeah, like obviously you would fucking take that. You would say yes every time. Like you'd be like, oh yeah, we've got Bethesda and we've got id and we've got
Obsidian, Arcane,
like Arcane, like we've got all of this shit. Like, of course the moves make sense if you look at them when they were being made, but then the stuff that they're getting out of these studios right now is so ass. Like, so this is like, I'm really glad I played it actually.
Yeah.
Because you need to know how ass.
Yes. No, like legitimately and actually, like I think a lot of people are not going to, they will have not played this, and then Elder Scrolls 6 will come out and they will be like, wow, what happened? And it's like, gang, they haven't actually had it in 15 years. Like they have not had the juice in 15 years. And it's hard because it's like what we do, right, is we have to play stuff with a cadence that is healthy, obviously for us, but it is also at a cadence that is healthy to the conversation, right? So like Starfield is not valuable in the conversation to play, so it's going to be missed, but Elder Scrolls will be. And there is no way that they are going to fix the majority of these are endemic, not to the engine even. They're endemic to people who are
Todd and his group.
Yes, it is endemic to the way that these games are conceptualized.
Yes.
Right.
And it's like, that's fucking tough. Like it is, we are never going to, Elder Scrolls 6 is not going to be better than this. It is going to be this. Will it look better? Maybe. This game also runs like shit. It is unbelievable how bad this, you walk into a city and the game drops to like 15 fucking frames.
It's crazy.
You're playing on Series X,
and I'm playing on Series X. Like that's where they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't actually think, and I for the first time in a minute, I've been like, I think I might have to write something about it because I don't actually think that the conversations that are being had around Sony is liable for the same thing, right? Like it's just a different flavor, but it's like the institutions that were set up as too big to fail, right? It is the banks again, right? These things are too big to fail, so we do not question them. And then when they start to falter, there's no language to ask the questions because at no point were we supposed to ask the questions. So Starfield comes out and it sucks. And instead of actually being like, okay, what does that mean for Bethesda and the idea of a video game that costs this much money and takes this much time, instead of that being the conversation, it is, well, they fucked up this one, they'll get it on the next one. No, gang, they're not going to get it on the next one, because if this is what they thought the best they could do was, it's cooked.
Yeah,
like it's fucking cooked.
Like that. That's the template you're working off of. Like,
yes,
and it's fucked at a fundamental level because like I think like I always think about Fallout New Vegas. Like, yeah, that was Obsidian, but you think about how fucking broken that game was from a technical perspective. But we look at that game extremely fondly. You know why? Yes. Because it was interesting. It was written extremely well. It was doing something, and it worked within the systems like very, very creatively. Whereas Starfield it's so plain. It's very plain, and if like that's the part where you can shine. That's the thing that you're not necessarily bound to technical limitations. That is where you flex your creative muscle and do the things that video games can do exclusively to video games.
Yeah,
if you can't do that. Like, if you can't nail that.
You can write your way out of so much jank with like charm, character, love, and care, right? Yeah. And none of that. There's a quest. I'm like you said this already, but I'm glad I'm playing it. There's a quest line that I didn't do or got added at some point where here's what it is. I was doing the Freestar Collective quests, which is like there's 3 factions that are the fucking cops in this game.
Yeah.
And these are the Western cops. The quest line when I was playing the game initially was broken. I went up to talk to the guy on Neon, and then he never gave me the quest, so I never did it. I circled back around, and now I can do the quest. There's a character, Sam, who has a kid. The kid is on the ship with you constantly. Instead of there being any sort of consideration for the fact that there's a child on the ship, where they're like, hey, we probably shouldn't get into space combat, because if we get into space combat and the ship explodes, the kid's gonna die.
No. Just slap on a suit, get out there, and put the baby on board sticker on the back of the ship.
There's not even if they did that, right?
That would be right.
Then that would be like, oh, okay. Obviously, you're just gonna reload the save. The kid's not really dying. There's literally no consideration of the fact that there is a child on this ship. You don't care. Sam, her dad, does not seem to care. She, the child who is in danger, does not seem to care. No character seems to give a shit. Eventually, you interact with the kid's mom. The kid's mom gets mad literally for 5 seconds and then is like, oh, I'm glad my kid's here so she can see me kill all of these people. And it's like, what do you fucking mean? Like, you don't actually need to write your video game this way.
Yeah, I think, and also the difference between a Starfield and like an Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim or Oblivion or whatever, is that Elder Scrolls games are fucking silly. They are like, they know they're dumb, and they kind of like live within the context of us, like of that world having dumb shit happen, and just that's that world. But Starfield takes itself so seriously. So when things like this happen, it's like this weird juxtaposition where there's this game that tries to take itself seriously, tries to have like this grand idea of space and what does being a human even mean and all this other shit. Yeah. And then you have silly things like this happen where like it doesn't work in this context. Yeah. And you clearly, at least it feels like when you play, when dumb shit happens in Skyrim, it's like they probably play that and said, "Yep, that's our vision."
That's what we want. Cool,
right? Yeah, cool. And then, but for Starfield, it's like that is you didn't want this. You
didn't want this, and you also didn't think about it. Like you didn't think far enough ahead down the path to be like, does it make sense?
Yeah,
for us to like, is it a good idea to actually have a child in your party? Yes, because you've never done that before. Yeah, that is legitimately an interesting narrative device that could be used to tell fun new stories.
But you don't do anything with it.
They don't do anything. Exactly. They do nothing with it. So then you, as the player, are like, okay, narratively, I am invested in the child on account of the fact that they are a child. Mm-hmm. They could tell me anything about the kid and I would be like, okay, yeah, absolutely, I buy it. But they don't care. It doesn't matter that it doesn't matter that like, and this is why I stopped playing yesterday. And I do have to go, unfortunately. But like I warped into this system. These fuckers talk to you all the time when you're flying in space. They're having conversations with each other. And she goes, Dad, I found a new book. And then also at the same time, I get a hail from a pirate. And then I'm like, I press the button to talk to the pirate, and the pirate's like, I'm going to kill you. And she's in the background still telling her dad about the boat or about the book that she's reading. And then before I can even like start to do the combat in the ship, I explode because there are 2 more pirates behind me who have already, while I was on the phone, and then the ship explodes and she's still talking about the book.
Yep. I've had that happen to me also.
The ship is falling apart. It's exploding beautifully into little chunks. And she's like, yeah, and then the characters, and then it fades to black. And then you're like, oh my God.
Like if this game was silly, if this game had a comedic edge to it, that would work, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. And like they simply do not have the chops to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't actually think there are so many better RPGs out that are in the Western style of big world to explore, weird little shit happens, which is like what the appeal of Oblivion and Skyrim and Morrowind, which I think obviously does all of those things better, but like that's what those games are about. They do not have the juice anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know. I think it's like such a
it's a big story.
And I do, because it's like it especially in context to like I swear to God, sorry for talking so much. I didn't realize how heated I was on this, but like the Halo shit is the same, right? Like they had Bungie did what I would actually, in retrospect, define as the impossible, which is they had 4 video games come out and they narratively started somewhere and ended it, and they said, well, I guess we're good. And then that was it. It's really hard to do that. There are 27 Call of Duties, right? Like it is really hard to there's 27 Call of Duties and 6 of them are Black Ops games, right? So like narratively, it is impossible to do in this system where you are constantly incentivized to make another one. Bungie got in, they made their 4 and they said, I think actually we're good. So they then gave the license to 343, which is like made up of people from all over the place, but a lot of Bungie people who did not move over to Destiny. And then they kind of jacked off for 10 years. They JOMO'd. They JOMO'd for a while. And then they the Halo 4 was weird. I liked Halo 4's story. The multiplayer wasn't good. Halo 5's story wasn't good, but the multiplayer was good. And I loved Infinite, but it was not enough, right? Like there was not enough video game there. And they also were not given the time by Microsoft to do anything with it because it was impossible to make the video game. So instead of being like, well, maybe we just put Halo to sleep for, I don't know, 10 years. And we come back when we have an idea about it. They're like,
we're gonna aim a spotlight at it. Actually,
actually, isn't it crazy how many bad Halo games we made? That's
anyway,
nuts.
we're gonna double down. It's Halo Studios now. Yes. Don't worry about where it's been.
Yeah, don't worry about where it's been. And also, please, please, please don't think about the fact that it all kind of looks vaguely AI and also kind of like we've run into we're just making Halo 1 again. Please, 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 please.
Please. Well, thanks, Niki.
Yeah.
For
anyway,
updating us on that.
Yeah.
No, it's all right.
Therapied now. Well, actually, I can be here for another 5 minutes because she just texted me that she's running late.
All right. Well, let's wrap up then. That sounds good. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to ask us Hive questions, you can do so each and every week by going to VGBees.com/join the Hive, and then you will have access to the Hive section of our Discord channel where you can ask all of those questions. Thank you so much. There were some really good ones today. I could get into it, but I was going to actually go with a really tortured metaphor that Bethesda's actually the Deshaun Watson of video games. You know,
no, but
guaranteed money, and he doesn't fucking care anymore. Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah. And Bethesda, massages. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, yo, I don't think that they're all they're at the table shower, boys.
Not that part of it. Just the part where he's bad at football.
Perform.
Yeah. Anyway, Michael Higham, thank you so much for being here. Number one fan. Where can folks find you? What do you want to plug?
You can find me and all of my bullshit at Michael P. Higham on Twitter or at Higham Michael on Instagram, where I am a little bit more active, sharing cat photos. You can also find my stuff at IGN.com, hit video game website. And sometimes I'm on GB, sometimes I'm on KF. I did the review discussion with Kinda Funny. So you can check that out if you want more discussions on Metaphor ReFantazio. You can check out my video review on YouTube. I think it's really well done. Very happy about that. And that's I got other things to do that I don't feel like plugging.
Hell yeah.
I totally get that. Niki, anything you want to plug real quick?
No. I mean, listen, if you're driving, good podcast. We're recording tomorrow.
That's a good podcast.
We've got a guest tomorrow named Merritt. I don't know if you've ever heard of her.
That's next week.
Damn, spoilers.
So no, I don't got fucking shit, dude.
That's all right. Yeah. You can go, speaking of Merritt, you can go wishlist Fledgling Manor. It's a game that she and LB Hunktears are making. You can wishlist it right now. There's a demo out on itch.io. That's Fledgling Manor, FLEDGING Manor, MANOR. Go check it out. It's a good time. All right, you can catch up on the brand everywhere at VGBees. just find us.
You were about to say you can open your eyes.
Open your eyes.
You can open your eyes now.
And drink you could be a Topo Chico. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Topo Chico. All right, anyway.
Chico.
All right, folks. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you again next week. Keep on buzzing. Bye.
Bye.